no one expected this level of corruption. Oh, you gotta see this.
Newly declassified documents reveal that back in 2022, the FBI did not believe that it had probable cause to raid President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home.
During a segment on Fox Business, Maria went through these declassified documents, then played a clip of Devin Nunes discussing it months earlier, and the entire panel landed on the same conclusion.
All in an attempt to stop Donald Trump from running for re-election. It's shocking.
And how did they get away with it? The media.
And today, we're covering it all. So if you believe truth isn't partisan, hit the subscribe button. Let's jump right into it.
Newly declassified documents reveal the extent of Joe Biden's weaponization of government. Emails released by Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley say it all. They show that back in 2022, the FBI did not believe that it had probable cause to raid President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. But they did so anyway, after pressure from the Joe Biden Justice Department. The back and forth between officials show concern from the FBI over a lack of probable cause to execute the search warrant, saying this, quote, very little has been developed related to who might be culpable for mishandling the documents, who has gathered information suggesting that there may be additional boxes at Mar-a-Lago. They go on to, quote, say, concerns that the information is single source has not been corroborated and may be dated. Weeks later, an FBI agent writes this, quote, we have not generated any new facts, but keep being given draft after draft after draft. President Trump reacting on Truth Social last night, saying this, unreasonable search and seizure. That was the FBI's criminal raid on Mar-a-Lago. This can never be allowed to happen again.
Now, for some context, these emails were provided by the FBI to the Senate Judiciary Committee after they requested internal communications referred to the Mar-a-Lago raid. And the content is damning to say the least. The emails begin in early June, with the FBI's Washington field office actively trying to build a mishandling documents case against Trump. In one exchange, it explicitly states, quote, the WFO has been drafting a search warrant related to these potential boxes, but has some concerns that the information is single source, has not been corroborated, and may be dated. What followed were internal back and forth questionings whether there was enough information to establish probable cause at all. Maria then played a clip of Devin Nunes discussing this exact issue a few months ago. So let's hear what he had to say.
This is something Trump media CEO Devin Nunes sounded the alarm with me back in July. Watch this.
Why was there a raid at Mar-a-Lago? What led to that raid? What led to the appointment of that special counsel? What the hell were they doing at Mar-a-Lago? What were they looking for? This was an unprecedented act in U.S. history where the Department of Justice raids a former president's home. That was an attempt. Whatever they were looking for, whatever scheme they had cooked up, whatever they were looking for, they didn't find, clearly. But that was to try to stop President Trump from being reelected.
Unbelievable.
That's all it was.
So you believe that they raided Mar-a-Lago because they were looking for this? They were looking for the intelligence community assessment, your report on Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 presidential election. That's why they raided Mar-a-Lago?
I believe it had to be one of the things that they were looking for. Because look, that report is pretty damning. And what do we know? After all this, after all, Trump and Russia and collusion, the two people that didn't collude? Trump and Russia. That's what we found out.
Exactly. And Nunes is right in questioning the motive behind all of this. You see, in one of the emails, an assistant special agent relayed how Mr. Toscas from the DOJ mentioned on a call, quote, he frankly doesn't give a damn about the optics. Mind you, Toscas received an award from Merrick Garland last year, and the DOJ blog post identified him as, quote, Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the National Security Division. Then, in January this year, he resigned after being moved to a different role. But it gets worse, because as planning for a raid was going on, another agent wrote, quote, as everyone is tracking, WFO does not believe we have established probable cause for the search warrant for classified records at Mar-a-Lago. Adding, quote, the 6 weeks spent fixated on probable cause have been counterproductive. In plain terms, that's an admission that the case was weak. Maria went on to explain what we might see next. But before we play that, a quick reminder. our merch store is live. And if you're looking for great gifts for your loved ones or even for yourself, it has an amazing collection. Plus, every purchase helps us continue bringing you stories that the media is trying to bury. So, make sure you check it out through the link in the description. Now back to the video.
Well, this is an extraordinary story, has been going on now for a decade, Ashley. I mean, we know that the Democrats came up with this wild fantasy that Trump colluded with Russia. Then when it was so obvious that it was made up from one political campaign, just trying to take down another political campaign, they wanted to make sure that they got all the reporting on the Russia collusion scam, and they thought Trump had it. So they raid his home, go in to Melania's, dresser and look through all of their stuff. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. And now we get this from Chuck Grassley. Your reaction?
Absolutely. And well, finally, we have an answer. And I think that the president has been saying this, and his senior staff has been saying this for years. And it's not just Mar-a-Lago. I mean, they went after him about everything and tried to victimize him about everything. And so I think that it's a major breaking news that we should make sure that Chuck Grassley and the Judiciary Committee refers this to the Justice Department, which is what I really want to see for some sort of criminal investigation.
Absolutely. And
if Pam Bondi doesn't move on this, it's fair to ask what the DOJ is even here for. The Epstein mess already damaged public confidence, and the Comey case looked like a gift that never got picked up. Now, there's a trove of documented material, and not acting on it would only deepen the distrust. Accountability still requires due process, but transparency without consequences means nothing. Simply put, more and more people are losing faith in the system because nothing ever happens after the facts come out. The panel then shifted to the media's role in all of this, and needless to say, they didn't hold back.
And this is just not one thing. This is a 10-year period. I call that a conspiracy. Yes. And the reason that I believe more charges are coming for Jim Comey and all the others at the FBI who staged this ridiculous sentiment around President Trump. It was a massive smear for 10 years.
Well, the corruption of the Biden administration is not only rampant, but repulsive. And we just keep talking about, on the one hand, this isn't news because we just keep talking about, and yet it is, because now we have even more details behind it. I mean, think of all of the times we've talked about what was happening in that Biden White House, from the 100 money wire transfers from China to Biden family accounts that, Maria, you talked about so many times, to raiding Mar-a-Lago when we all just looked and said, what in the world is going on? To four criminal accusations that were all ultimately dismissed or pushed out of court or nothing came of them, all in an attempt to stop Donald Trump from running for re-election. It's shocking.
And how did they get away with it? The media.
Even with these emails now declassified, you won't see coverage from outlets like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, or even NPR or PBS. The reason that matters is because those networks still reach millions, especially liberal viewers. When that audience never hears about misconduct inside government agencies, two separate realities form. One, where people who seek information know what's happening, and, like you watching this video, and others, where a huge portion of the country remains in the dark. That divide isn't harmless. It deepens mistrust, fuels resentment, and pushes people further apart. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep thinking.